I've been carrying this story with me for years, not because it was dramatic, but because it was quiet. Quiet secrets last the longest. For a long time, I told myself it didn't matter, that no one needed to know, that keeping it hidden was the safest option for everyone involved. I was wrong, but before I explain why, you need to understand how it all started. It didn't begin with something terrible. There was no sudden betrayal, no shocking moment. It began slowly, almost harmlessly. At the time, my life looked normal from the outside. I had friends who trusted me, a routine that made sense, days that blended into one another in a comfortable way. People saw me as reliable, the kind of person who listened more than they spoke, someone calm, someone stable. I liked that version of myself, so when the first lie appeared, I accepted it without much resistance. It was small. Someone asked me to stay quiet about something. Nothing illegal, nothing dramatic, just something they weren't ready to explain. Just for now, they said, until things settled down. I agreed. At the time it felt like loyalty, like maturity, like I was protecting someone I cared about. Days passed, then weeks. No one noticed anything. Life continued, and that's how the secret learned how to survive. Over time, more moments like that appeared. Small omissions, carefully chosen words, half-truths that felt easier than full explanations. Each one felt justified on its own. I wasn't lying to hurt anyone. I wasn't lying for personal gain. At least that's what I told myself. But lies don't need bad intentions to grow. They only need silence. Slowly, the role people saw me in began to change. They trusted me more. They confided in me. They assumed honesty because I looked calm and composed. And the more they trusted me, the more trapped I felt. Because now, telling the truth wouldn't just reveal the secret. It would destroy the image they had of me. So I kept going. I adjusted my tone. I rehearsed conversations in my head. I learned how to redirect questions without raising suspicion. It became natural. Too natural. That's when I realized something was wrong. I started feeling tired all the time. Not physically, but mentally. Even on quiet nights when nothing was happening, my mind wouldn't rest. I'd replay conversations from years ago, wondering if I had said too much, or not enough, wondering if today would be the day everything collapsed. The worst part wasn't the fear of being exposed, it was the distance. I felt separated from people, even when I was with them, like there was an invisible wall I couldn't remove. They were seeing a version of me that wasn't complete, and I allowed it. I remember one night in particular. Nothing special happened that day. No arguments, no stress. But I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, listening to the quiet, and suddenly the question appeared clearly in my mind. How long are you going to live like this? I didn't have an answer. That question followed me everywhere after that. At work, during conversations, even during moments that were supposed to be relaxing. I realized I was planning my life around a secret, avoiding certain topics, avoiding certain people, avoiding honesty, and slowly avoiding myself. The turning point didn't come with courage, it came with exhaustion. One morning I woke up feeling empty. Not sad, not angry, just tired of pretending. That's when I knew something had to change. I didn't plan a dramatic confession. There was no speech, no perfect timing. I simply stopped running. The first person I told didn't react the way I expected. They didn't yell. They didn't interrupt. They just listened. And when I finished, there was a pause, a long one. They looked at me differently after that. Not with anger, but with disappointment. That hurt more than any argument could have. Word didn't spread instantly, But secrets never stay contained once they're released. Slowly, others found out. Some people asked questions, some stayed silent, some disappeared from my life without explanation. I learned something important during that time. Not everyone leaves because they hate you. Some leave because they no longer recognize you. I lost friendships that had lasted for years. I lost routines that felt permanent. I lost the comfort of being seen as the reliable one. But I also gained something unexpected: silence. Not the heavy, anxious kind, but the peaceful kind. For the first time in years, I could speak without calculating every word. I could answer questions honestly. I could exist without fear of being exposed. The truth didn't fix my life. It didn't suddenly make things easier. Some days became lonelier. Some nights felt longer. But the weight was gone. I wasn't carrying two versions of myself anymore. Looking back, I understand why I did it, why I hid the secret, why I chose comfort over honesty. Most people don't lie because they're evil. They lie because they're afraid of hurting others, afraid of losing connection, afraid of being misunderstood. But fear has a cost, and sooner or later it asks to be paid. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this: the truth doesn't always protect your relationships, but it protects you, and sometimes that's what you need the most. I don't regret telling the truth, even though it changed everything, because for the first time in years, the life I'm living is actually mine.